Huey. Yeah, I don't like losing. Well, then stop beating yourself. Huey. Yeah, you still a bitch.
It's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. Yeah, it's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got some love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. We started from the bottom, talking about the roots. Every time I'm in the booth, I got.
Hey y'all, we've been gone for a minute, but we're back with the jump off. We're reviewing season 2, episode 8 of the Boondocks, Ballin, in which Riley joins Tom's Little League basketball team and learns there's more to the game than flashy moves. There's crushing, humiliating defeat. But even better than that, today we have a special guest. MJ is out. Of course, you will miss her, as will we. But we have husband of one, father of two, host of two podcasts. That's Damon Does and the A Different World podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Damon.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you. How are y'all doing?
Hanging in there.
Yeah. You guys been busy.
A little bit. Yeah. If you are one of our Patreon patrons, you already know that we've been going through some stuff the last few days. But just, and also if you follow us on Twitter, or on TikTok, that's right. I didn't actually know you posted on that, but cool. Dean kept himself sane in the hospital this weekend by doing all the social media stuff. So, but yeah, he's home. He's okay. He's probably got more years ahead of him than I do, apparently. So, yeah, probably. But that's, yeah. Like I was saying before too, like I have no idea what's even going on in the world because, yeah, it's been a little stressful. So.
It's just more sad bullshit. That's the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of shit. Yeah, do we even want to go into news? Because I know personally I am in my feelings just over Palestine. I know people have a lot of different opinions on that situation too. I feel like it's only going to depress anyone listening to this fucking podcast, but I'm definitely a free Palestine kind of girl. And
Same.
it breaks my heart.
Me too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I feel like sometimes the last couple of years have really kind of changed a lot of my outlook on life. Like I still have kind of that weird optimistic, like I have to be happy and like think of the future and be excited for it and all that shit. But fuck, like there's no there's no part of this world that is not suffering from something right now, just like, and so many things are dependent on a system that does not value the lives of humans. It values money over the lives of humans. And, like Palestine is absolutely a huge example of that. You also have India, where the US wouldn't share like how to make a fucking vaccine for COVID because proprietary reasons, and fuck off. And like, I did read something this morning on Twitter about the whole gasoline shortage on the East Coast it was basically, the line was basically shut down because they couldn't bill customers. And so that's why they shut down a lot of the supply. Yeah. Yeah. So just like there's this fucking world is, I've been thinking for a while that the US was probably going to have a civil war, but now I'm wondering like, is anything functioning right now anywhere? Like when Bowie died, did he truly take like the soul of everybody with him, and now everything's just going to hell? So that's how I feel about that.
I'd give you my opinions, but it's too spiritual. I will tell you, I do believe this planet is literally hell. I will tell you that. I think that my sister was telling me, and this is good for our listeners, that everyone, especially people of color, should watch the documentary Eliminate the Brutes on HBO Max.
Exterminate all brutes, right?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we started it. We haven't finished yet.
She said it is a must watch. Just from a different conversation she and I were having, which is just that, I can't believe people haven't kind of figured out the fix. Yeah, you're all even. I don't care what your race is either. Like, you are all on the chopping block. Just, priority will shake out eventually. Brown people, you can't get rid of, what happens when we're all gone. As a matter of fact, I think we talked about this on one of the first episodes of this podcast. In regard to yeah. But anyway, y'all have any other current events you want to review, or should we get into the fun episode?
Well, I did want to real quick there, and I put this in our notes, but the Ozarks Coalition, which is a leftist organization that's tracking hate crimes and fighting racism, and especially in the Ozarks area. They have some, I don't know if they've updated their store yet. They started creating these patches of very anti-racist messages that are great. There's one that sticks in my head of a lynching of a Klan member.
I think I've seen that.
So yeah, they have a few great patches that they're trying to sell, and they were just trying to do it for the Ozarks area, but it got a lot of notice, and so they've had to upgrade their website and all their store stuff. So highly recommend checking them out and doing what you can for them, because they're fighting the good fight.
Awesome. I feel like that. I don't know if that came up before, but no. Okay, it was. All right, maybe it's something that we talked about.
Yeah. You and I talked about.
Okay, that's why. I often tell him I don't remember who I have conversations with after I've had them. So, I have a friend who will listen to the podcast, maybe a week later, and start to respond, and I'll be like, "You need to give me so much more context because I have no idea what I said." So that's why I'm always like, "Okay, did we talk about this here?" Oh, yeah. So that's everything then?
Yep.
All right. Okay, I guess go into the episode breakdown. I don't have everyone's. There's the clips. Okay. All right. So the episode starts out with Riley in a dream where even in the dream, he can't escape Granddad, somehow trying to take advantage. But he's now a member of the Miami Heat, and he got $3 gazillion contract and beats every single one of them. Kobe Bryant, Yao Ming, and then all of it is basically doing these tricks and skills. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't watch basketball really that much, but watching that made me so nostalgic for the Harlem Globetrotters a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I see Riley encourage that shit. That's fun. Fun is okay. But then there was my let's see, this was one of Lynxi's clips, but I like this one about at the end of the dream there.
Good one, little brother. Shaq, 17 blocks for Riley, you had one. That's got to make you feel fucked up.
It did at first. Then I realized hating on Riley's superior game doesn't make my game any better, so guess I have to work harder, step up to his level. That's what great players do. They bring the best out of everyone on the team.
So he's better than you?
Yes.
And stacks more paper and gets more hoes than you, nigga?
Absolutely.
I love that.
I don't know what it is about impersonating Shaq. It's just a fun thing to do. It just makes you feel good on the soul. It just gets to it, and it's pretty easy to do, and everybody can do it.
The Charles Barkley one was pretty good, too.
Yeah, well. I get so tickled.
That's part of the reason I picked the clip. One, for the same reason, that's one of my favorite impersonations to do. But also, like, it probably would have been better if we did it at the very, very end of the show, now that I'm thinking in retrospect, because I feel like that summarizes a lot of probably what we're going to get into today. Y'all, don't be fucking haters. Just step your game up, do better, work on your shots. Like, that's the whole freaking point.
It's kind of funny that in Riley's dream, that was actually really good advice when you lose to somebody. That's the kind of thing that Riley needs to pay attention to, not the actual winning, but how teamwork and showmanship doesn't have, they don't always go together. And
Lord.
If you have anything to say, just jump right into it.
Okay. One thing I got tickled by the cold open was when Granddad shows up and at the end he starts whipping with the belt. I immediately thought of the Muhammad Ali quote: "If you dream of beating me, you better wake up and apologize."
And apologize.
I remember that.
I got so tickled.
That's awesome. I feel like that would be Granddad wanting to say that quote, but really so the next scene is Riley dribbling and doing tricks in the house. Granddad tells him to go shoot free throws outside. Why is that word so hard for me to say? Free throws outside. Free throw. Not three fro. Granddad said he's going to teach him the basics while he goes and but after he goes and changes, which is amazing. The jersey tucked into his short shorts. That
was style back in
the day.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
No thing.
While they were outside, Tom walks by and is so impressed by Riley's dribbling skills that he invites Riley to come and try out for his team, which is called the Mighty Deers because they rep the deer. And basically saying, you could be a superstar one day. And Riley's like, I already am. One of the things I really loved about that little part, and it just was so fucking funny because Riley spends so much of that scene making fun of Granddad for the short shorts, and then Tom shows up and is like, hey, nice shorts, and is wearing the exact same shorts. And they don't, it's just kind of a throwaway joke at the very end of that scene, but it's so fucking great that Riley's just like, ooh, the whole time. Like, I hate this on you, Granddad. And here's another one who just walks up and pretty much validates Granddad style.
There's when you brought up Riley and Tom talking, they also the end of that little bit. Tom asked Riley, "Have you ever played for a team before?" And Riley says, "Nope." So
that's right.
So he's got So it's clear, especially by the end of that scene, into this interaction, that both of them do not have the proper perspective on children's sports, to say the least.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings about the whole children's sports thing anyway. It really comes out in this when we're actually watching games being played, but I'll get into that later. Let's see. Doot. So Riley shows up at practice the next day, but, he's an hour late, but, Tom didn't actually call his manager. So, he's just there to talk about the name of the team and the uniform. And Tom basically is like, go out there and play, and gets all the other kids to guard him because Riley doesn't want one-on-one. He wants the whole team. And then he does this whole dribbling and showboating thing past every single one of them, but then stops short of actually trying to take a shot and acts all high and mighty like that's all you get for free. Like, that's all you get for free. Does he know that he can't do any more than that already? Like, it feels like when he's in the games, he's like, no, I can do this. I can totally do it, right? I can do it. But he doesn't think he can do it.
I think that's like them playing off of too, like, this is a character trait of Riley's kind of, he has all these like hood kind of points of view, and there's some wisdom there and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, he's still a little kid. And I think as a character, genuinely does not know I'm supposed to shoot this ball now. He's just focused on the skill of the dribble and all this kind of stuff. Because we kind of see that later, I think, when they actually do play the game and they're like, shoot the ball, Riley. And he's like, oh.
Right. Tom tells Riley about his dream of one day having the perfect miracle game, just like at the end of The Mighty Ducks, that inspirational film from his childhood. And it's oh my God. So, a week later, Riley shows up in a suit, tells Dad, let's see, where are we? He gets Tom to offer him a half-season contract. And in return, Riley gets to change the team's name, which he chooses the Ballaholics. And he gets to design the team's jersey, which reminds me of the episode where Huey did the Christmas play. And like, I want full control, and no, you can't change anything. And that's totally Riley in this scene. Like, they've got that same idea of what they can do and their own vision, even if it's about completely different things.
Mm-hmm. In Riley's defense, though, the Ballaholics was a better name.
Hell yeah.
And the uniform, and the uniform was fire. So
yeah. No, so I mean, I'm not complaining about it.
I gotta give him credit for that.
And Tom, bless his heart, I feel like the timid deer was kind of that like Mighty Ducks. Like, he thought that deer are majestic, and so what are deer? Deer are timid. Okay, so we're timid deer, and that makes total sense to him in his brain. Mm-hmm. So Ruckus as a ref. There are so many things. Referring to them as future ex-cons. Only shooting and stealing I want to see is with this here b-ball, you little future ex-con, looking right at Riley. I took a good note there. And, basically just saying that I know what you little black kid are here to do with all of these white kids playing basketball. So just be careful. All of the best, athletes are white. So,
no whiskey.
Like, I only knew Larry Bird. So they're playing a game against, and we didn't catch the name of the team. Riley starts out strong, but then it becomes really apparent that he's great at everything up until shooting, and the Ballaholics lose terribly. At home, now this is finally the first time I think in this series so far that I finally listened to Granddad say something to the kids, and I was like, good job, Granddad. Because Riley gets home and he's like, I want to quit. I'm not good immediately, so I want to quit. I don't want to do it. And he's like, you made me so proud. I was so excited to see you. If you give up, we won't get to do that together. And come on, we can do this. And, it's pretty obvious, even though they fight constantly, that the two of them really love each other. Mm-hmm. I'm going back and forth between papers here because...
You just went over your clip.
Oh, I did? Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and play
that? Playing against people ain't like playing against furniture, is it?
I ain't never playing again.
So that's it, huh? You just gonna go on and quit. Well, I was excited seeing you out there.
Granddad, I look like a fool out there. I can't shoot the ball, and I don't know why.
Because you don't practice.
Oh, so that's what practice is for.
That's what practice is for. Yeah. So it wasn't just, that. So my clip was him before that, or him after what I just said. So I loved for the first time that it was actually Granddad parenting and doing a good job of parenting. Because really, you're never going to take away the crap that goes along, like the having to practice and work at making yourself good at something, no matter how much natural talent you have. And as a kid who had a lot of natural talent and no executive functioning to do it on my own without someone really pushing them, like, that's what a lot of kids need. They need someone to encourage them and tell them that they believe in them. And I think that's a big thing that Riley really wants from Granddad.
Absolutely. And I think like a big part of it too is like if you are a person, any person who wants success in life, you have to, at a point, as the kid who thought, my parents told me I was smart and shit, but like in a lot of my life, I have been the underdog. What has led to my success was when I stopped giving a single good goddamn fuck about what.
It's the remix version.
What.
Can you mute?
It's like, oh, this is shit.
Oh,
there we go.
there we go. Okay. Wow, that was nice feedback.
Getting all crooked up in here.
It reminded me of online teaching when someone will echo through because there's like 6 microphones on and it's all feeding back on itself. And the kids are all like, I don't know what to do. Sorry about that, Lynxi. You want to try that again?
Good. Can you hear me okay? Like, is it the right mic picking up? Okay.
Yeah.
But basically the point is, y'all, like people often will come at you with all kinds of shitty advice because they have their best interest at heart and not yours. But as long as you practice and do the fucking work, you're going to figure shit out all by yourself. And don't worry about looking like a fool. That's the big takeaway.
Yeah. That's a big, a big thing in 99% of what humans do. If you're afraid to look like a fool, you're just going to sit stagnant and do nothing. The version I tell the kids I work with is mistakes are proof that you're trying. If you weren't making mistakes, you're not learning anything. So, yeah.
And if it ever goes bad enough, you have a great story to tell later.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's the truth of it. I've never heard a really good story go, man, I left the house, everything went great, and you know what? Everything was swimming. No, it always has dips and turns, and it's terrible.
Right.
It reminds me of a I don't know if it was something on a meme or something. It's like a what do you this is great for visual medium.
Yep.
The XY axis. That's what I'm thinking of, and it says what we think success is, and it's a straight line. And then the next XY axis says what success actually is. It's a big old bunch of squiggles and backwards, and then you finally get there, and that's what it is. And I've got little ones right now. The oldest is starting to get that with some of her schoolwork and stuff. She has some things that she's practiced all the time because she loves doing it, and I'm gonna keep encouraging her to do that. But the stuff that she's having issues with in school, sometimes we've been doing that throughout this whole last year, and I think she's finally starting to get it. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's one of the things that I love most about being a teacher, but particularly because of the kids that I work with, when they do start to figure stuff out and they are able to kind of take a little more control of what's happening to them, because their reaction to what's happening lessens, therefore the reaction of those around them lessens, and actually creates an environment where they are able to anyway. I love that part where they're really just starting to get it, and right before they get it, where they're like, I'm almost ready to give up, and then you just I don't miss having kids in my house all the time. I will miss being a teacher, but I'm very glad that I'm changing careers. Anyway, sorry, I went on a tangent there, obviously.
No, you're good.
Let's see, where were we? Riley. Riley starts going to practice. Tom helps him basically learn how to shoot and shoot correctly, and Riley gets better. Surprise, surprise. So then, and I want to apologize for people listening at home. I wrote up all these notes. What was it, 2 weeks ago when we first were going to do this episode? So I did watch the episode a couple times again, but my notes are on a different page than than the final readout, so I keep going back and forth. So the next game, Riley's teamwork shows up, and he passes the ball, and he actually is able to make baskets, and he gets all excited, and he wants to, thank Granddad and Tom for believing in him, and, realizes everyone's yelling at him because he needs to get on defense. But he still can't stop showboating and hogs the ball again, and the team ends up losing, and everyone's just so sad. So sad.
This is a lesson I've had to learn. If my mom was on this podcast, she'd be freaking out because I used to be a bit, like I said, I was an underdog. And then when people were like, wow, this little kid is good at whatever she does, I used to be like, oh yeah, y'all see this dope ass report? You welcome. First, I want to thank Tiara and Dean, Damon for coming on. Like, I would be that person, like, you're just out here. It's like, girl, you haven't done anything. That's awesome. But, there's like miles to go. Like, you got to kind of, this is where I am now. You got to kind of keep your mouth shut, finish strong, kind of complete the thing before you get out here and you start showboating and talking shit. And even then, the advice she's giving me is shut the fuck up and just quietly have your success. Like, I don't know. Feels good to brag, but I'd watch it now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that there's an appropriate time to brag, I guess. Yes. So the next game is against the Tigers with their powerhouse player, Fearsome Cindy McPherson, who Riley has to guard against. And Ruckus has some rules.
And at shooting guard, she's currently the league high scorer, the blonde baller, Cindy Fearsome McPherson.
Looking at the white girl is a foul. Speaking to the white girl is a technical foul. And touching the white girl, now that's a lynching. Come on.
That's a lynching. Fuck.
Wow.
Like, not only is that a lynching, like, that literally is how Emmett Till died, for looking at a white girl.
Yeah.
Ruckus. I love hate Ruckus because he is absolutely an example of basically the most racist person anyone would meet, right? Yeah. And the twist on it being that he's also a black guy and he hates himself so much because he's black is just so indicative of a lot of things in black culture. But the way he was in this episode with, you guys stealing, I don't want to see any stealing or shooting, and, don't look or touch the white girl. And like, it felt so, it felt like, I don't even know how to explain it. It felt like history, not a cartoon. Like, it was the character of Ruckus is so good in this episode at being so completely vile in everything. Just like,
y'all know my
really need to point that out. What was that?
Yeah, I said, y'all know my feelings on him. I love him. To me, Ruckus is there to show, like, hardcore racists, like, how stupid you look. That is the whole point of his existence. He cracks me up. Like, I love it. And don't forget, he's not a black man. He has reverse vitiligo.
Reverse vitiligo. Yes, obviously. So Cindy is just as good at playing the game and talking shit, basically, as Riley is, and completely throws Riley off his game because he's not used to being taunted by anybody who might be better than him. It also could be that it's because she's a girl. Ruckus calls a foul on Riley, which is for touching the white girl, right? And then everybody argues, come on, ref, that's some bull, from the little Tom's daughter, Jasmine. Fuck my brain sometimes. So the team kind of gathers and like tries to figure out a way to give her a taste of her own medicine. That scene was hilarious with Riley trying to come up with all these ranks because he's so used to only being around other black kids that he can, do the yo mama jokes on, and keeps looking over at Cindy's white, blonde, skinny mom and just, wait, no, wait. Like, your mama's skin's so ashy. Wait. Your mama's so black. No, that won't work. But then Granddad remembers some gossip he heard about Cindy's mother, which then Riley uses to completely throw Cindy off her game and make her just dissolve into tears, telling her that her mom gives blowjobs in the bathroom at the country club, likes to do cocaine, that her parents were just waiting for her birthday before they split up. Like, he broke that girl's world. And I mean, she was kind of being a little,
Dishing it out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's not a reason to give the girl therapy, though.
No, definitely not.
This scene, the one thing that stuck out to me in this scene was Granddad, one, had the gossip. Two, actually told his grandson.
Told the whole team. Told the whole
8-year-olds.
Yes.
Like, the whole neighborhood knows now. Like, what are you doing?
Riley's granddad says that Cindy's mom gives good neck at the country club. What?
I just couldn't believe it. I just died. I'm like, what? Good, great. We have that moment, that tender moment that you were talking about earlier, Tiara, where he's, being a parent. Like, I want to have moments like that, and I think hopefully I've had a couple. And then he does this. Yep, like Granddad.
That's exactly my point on Granddad just being a shitty ass like guardian for these kids. Like, you can tell that there is love there, but Granddad, oh my God, like there are no boundaries between him and, like, he fucking exercises naked in front of the kids and stuff. Like, he's got no boundaries, and that's a problem when you're sharing gossip, because then everybody will know. What's it on our other podcast? Bad news. What is it? Bad gas travels fast. There it is. So then, since Cindy finally broke down and ran off the field and ran away, the Tigers had to send in their last sub.
Look at this. The Tigers have only one player to sub, and it looks like it's little Billy Matthews. Now, Billy is autistic, but he sure loves basketball, getting his first playing time right here today.
Son, just go in there and have fun. Today's your day. I always believed in you.
I have so many feelings about that. Like, autism porn has been a thing that is that plagues autistic adults. Those feel-good stories that aren't really, they're really not feel-good stories. Like, what I got at watching that is, why is this the first time you're seeing this kid play? How do you not know that he has any of these abilities? Did you include him in anything or let him play with the team before? Is he just warming the bench because, you want to look good, that you have the disabled kid on your team? And, oh, man, there was one line that I literally was like, the first time I heard it, and then every time after that, I just scowled. The announcer guy said, "Sure makes the whole team look autistic." And I'm like,
wow.
I'm gonna... Yeah, so, and that's for being as long ago as it was, it absolutely still fucking happens all the time. In fact, if anyone at home follows me on Twitter or Facebook, you know that I am very, very against Autism Speaks. And I believe that it is a hate group because they want to fix autistic people. And they want to basically it's low-key eugenics. They showcase these kids who have, like, outwardly what society looks or thinks of when they think of an autistic person. It's because of Autism Speaks, because of the propaganda that they put out, basically. Right, like, for the last year, they have been running ad campaigns on every major news network. It's the same fucking one with, like, the kid singing at the concert and everyone cheers for him at the end. And then you've got a kid playing a sport and everyone's like, oh, it's so exciting that he's playing a sport. And I'm sitting here like, okay. So what does autism look like? Why do all of these kids have the same characteristics, but I don't look anything like them? 99% of the people I know who are autistic don't look like that. That is like less than 5% probably of the people who have autism. And I hate to even say have autism because it's not something to have. It's who I am. I am an autistic person. I am not a person with autism. It is not something I can take off like a hat or my glasses. It is not a disease that anyone can ever cure. It is literally just the way my brain works. It is the way that I process information. It is the way that I take in more sensory information than typically developing people, neurotypical people. Often the most common thing that people who are autistic will usually say will be that they feel things more, but the rest of the world can't see that. Most of the autistic people that I know have higher empathy than any neurotypicals I've ever met. They have much higher rates of depression and suicidal ideation because the biggest problem with society is society believes that we should communicate and act the way that they want us to instead of society trying to figure out how to understand what we're doing and saying. And so seeing things like that to quote unquote normal people, they're like, oh, it's so great. This kid with a disability is shining and now making money and they're going to do a movie about him and this and that and blah, blah, blah. When really it's, hey, look at this white kid with privilege that, he was lucky enough to get a diagnosis and then people pretty much ignored him and didn't realize that he had any skills that can contribute to society until they put him in at the last fucking minute because it was all that they had left and they realized that he was actually talented at something instead of just something to sit on the bench. So that long rant, like watching this episode the first time, I am pretty sure that Dean heard every foul word. Like I had to go and smoke a joint and just like, fuck, how do I talk about that without like, because there are people and they have the right to whatever they feel. But like I'm like, for example, okay, I'm in a master's program for psychology and the current class I'm in is 100 of us or so who are all doing different master's degrees, but all under the umbrella of psychology. And there are a lot of people who are who do ABA therapy and want to become BCBAs, which is a board certified behavioral analyst. Behavioral analysis is forcing an autistic or otherwise quote unquote not normal child to act and behave in a way that is seen more normal, that is seen less disruptive or less, making it so that they can sit in a classroom or, not fidget all the time or not like, it is seen as abuse by a lot of actually autistic people. And the primary research that has been done into autism and because that is all essentially middle-class white male and usually children, it affects so many people that are not getting counted until they're much older and it's too late to really stop all of the fucking trauma that happens to us. And yeah, I don't know. There's so many things that I could say about this, and I don't want to completely spend the entire episode going, autism speaks sex, but like the fact that they're like the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Most of their money goes into paying their people and putting on galas and paying for commercials and shit like that. And their research is in genetics. And their research is in genetics. If your research is in genetics and your idea is to cure me, what you are telling me is that in the future, you're hoping to be able to find a gene that is autism and do something about that with that information. And the reason why that's so terrifying is think about the fact that there are countries in our world that have a zero population of people with Down syndrome. And that's because it is found in utero, in the genetics, and those children are aborted. That is essentially what Autism Speaks is trying to work toward. And they have such a huge platform that, like, I literally, like, my professor sent me a private email basically saying thank you for saying something because someone used Autism Speaks as a reference in one of their things that we're doing in class. And I was like, please don't use that. Because there's the majority of us who really feel like it's a hate group. So yeah. So don't support Autism Speaks. Look for things like the, let's see, ASN, Autism. Oh my God. You know what? I'll put them in the notes because I can't think of them right now. But there are so many different places out there that actually are doing actual research, and it's with autistic people instead of on autistic people. And there are advocacy groups that are run by people who are autistic, and just like there are so many other things out there that are so much better than Autism Speaks, but they get all of the notice. So I want to make sure that, you know, we get that. Dean's doing, okay. We're going to get that for everybody. So I'm going to step off my soapbox a little bit. Yeah. So, what was his name? Billy. Billy is an autistic boy who had never played a single game. Probably didn't play in practice either because the coach didn't seem to know that Billy was going to be so awesome. Let's see. Riley underestimates him at first and gives him space. And then Billy just looks at the basket and looks at the ball and essentially calculates in his mind what he needs to do to make the perfect shot. Then he calculates the math in his, like, out loud of how many points the team needs. And he's like super fast at his math. And, you know, there's a few stereotypes in that. It's very apparent that this kid is a basketball prodigy. The Ballaholics lose, and Tom, just probably one of my favorite scenes with Tom happens, where he's just like, fuck, shit, 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 shit. I kind of want to make it like a ringtone or something because it was just so great. Shit. Like, I can hear my dad almost with that one. Let's see. No more. Okay. After the game, Huey and Riley are watching TV, and there is this huge media uproar because of Billy's amazing game. And he's now getting to meet NBA stars. He met the president, which was George W. Got $1 million movie deal. He has a movie where Haley Joel Osment's going to play him. And then Riley is basically turned into this klutzy villain role in this movie being made, and now basically all of the things that Riley had hoped would happen for him is happening for someone else, and Riley is the villain of the story. And that's the end of the episode. And we leave Riley with all of that feeling. So I've still got one other thing that I kind of want to rail about, but I want to hear what you guys think about anything. Yeah.
Well, I don't have too much. I mean, I figured you would have a lot to say. When I was watching it, I was like, oh. But yeah, I just took it more so, obviously, not having a lot of education about autism. I mean, like, you know, as you do firsthand, like, oh, they're just trying to go with the underdog story. Like,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
expects it with a lot of ignorance as to what they are really putting out there.
Well, and
But,
to be fair, 15 years ago, I was absolutely one of those people that was like, oh, maybe everybody's a little bit autistic, like before I actually like learned about what it was and how I quote unquote got it. And that would be my mom. Mm-hmm. So yeah, sorry.
No, you're perfect and you're good. I feel this way, to take it to a lighter level. I feel this way about all people. This is my issue with society. That's why I don't give a fuck. That's why I be on this podcast saying nigga, 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 and cursing and doing and being my ghetto self and whatever, because that is one of the biggest problems with society. And I think we talked about this on Damon's podcast, is that society has dictated who you should be and how you should act and what is appropriate and who the gatekeepers are going to open the door for and who's not allowed. And people, to survive, I guess, in many ways, they just adapt. And I feel like there's too much information out there for this shit anymore. Like, people, it's time to stop it. Like, shake it up, learn something, stop putting other people down, be your authentic fucking selves, and make a better world. That would solve a lot of your problems.
Yep.
Amen.
Yep.
What I've been thinking about this, especially, I guess 2020 really brought it out, but from about roughly 2016, and it seems like COVID is actually COVID. It seems like every chance we get to do the right thing as a group, as a society, we completely mess it up, or enough of us want to mess it up for everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, if we had come together as a country last year, we would be way closer. If not, we would. This would be in the rear view. You know what I mean? The mask would be in the rear view. I mean, it's barely in now, but I could see the last sign instead of a couple exits back. You know what I mean? And it's just, or when we talk about wealth inequality and how people having a place to live. It shouldn't be it shouldn't be a big deal to get people a place to live and something to eat, especially as much space as we have. I don't understand it.
There have been so many studies that literally say it would be cheaper to house every homeless person than it is to quote unquote fight homelessness by doing sweeps and shit all the time. Like, I'll have to find it. I saw something the other day that literally was like, this is how much it would cost to buy a hotel to house all of these people that are sleeping outside on the street outside of this hotel. And it was cheaper than how much it cost for the cops to have to come there and do the stupid shit that cops do with homeless people because they're beneath them. And so, like, I'll have to find that once we're done with the episode. But it's one of the reasons that has really soured me on Seattle. Especially the area of Seattle that I live. It's so NIMBY here that, like, for me, do you know what NIMBY means?
No.
Not in my backyard.
Oh.
Yeah. So a NIMBY would be like the liberal white people living down the street who have like a Black Lives Matter sign in front of their house, but they'll call the police if they see someone who they don't know in their neighborhood at 10 o'clock at night. Like, that's where I live. So, like, Black Lives Matter sign on the house over there, but yet looking at me as I'm walking down the street as if I don't belong here and my family has lived here since the 70s, but whatever. Okay. But yeah, capitalism has made it so that society believes that human life has no value if it cannot contribute to society. And that leaves it really easy for people to dehumanize houseless people and people with mental illness and people who are LGBTQ. And like, it's really easy to dehumanize somebody in your mind if you are willing to do it. And that has happened in this city. It's the people that I see trying to fight it are like lesser and less and moving out because And here I am. Moving out.
And to your and Damon's point, I think it's even more sinister. I think it's not even just a capital. I mean, maybe it is. People have gotten to the point, and in a way I get it. People have gotten to a point where human life doesn't matter unless it contributes to me achieving success or getting to where I wanted, to me becoming a better, richer, greater person. That's kind of the name of the game. And like, I feel like that is what the pandemic kind of showed. Like if you could, all you had to do was stay home and wear a fucking mask. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't be bothered to do that. And you just look at the way like people just treat other people in society, and they get more like, I'm kind of blurring everything, but like with social media, this very selfish, self-promoting culture, I think is a direct result of the fact that people have kind of realized, okay, humanity has given up on humanity. Like other people feel they can't rely on other people to like, let's all move together and do better. So they say, well, fuck it. You know what? If Tiara's not going to wear her mask and Dean's not going to wear his mask, I mean, I guess Demond is doing it, but you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to wear my mask either. In my little beach selfie, I have to show, like they just kind of get well, fuck it. If we're all not in it together, then I better go it alone, and get, survival for me, my children, get my riches, get my Gucci, all this kind of bullshit. Just that self-promotion, selfishness is a direct result of this inability for all people to get in the boat together.
Yeah. And time after time, whenever there's some kind of emergency, you see two groups of people. You see a group that's trying to help everyone, and you see the group that's only trying to help themselves. Mm-hmm. And like COVID obviously was like on a grand scale in the US. I mean, we've got like 600,000 dead now, and only 45% of our population has at least one shot of the vaccine. And the CDC is just like, okay, I give up. Go for it. If you've been vaccinated, take off your mask. And I'm like, no, that just means that the people who don't fucking care are going to keep not wearing a mask. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to be able to walk around and say, well, I'm vaccinated. How can you prove it that I'm not? Like, they don't fucking care. And then there's people that like me that's like, I'm just going to stay in my house for the next 10 years, it seems.
Right. I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but like some Army sergeant did my second shot, and he was like, because like we asked him about being immunocompromised and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, well, for you, I want you to go ahead and pretend the CDC didn't say anything. He basically told me that there is not enough research to prove that the vaccine is even effective for immunocompromised people. And he was like, so, like, let's say it is. He's like, you've got at least a month for that to happen. And he kind of told my husband, you're in the same boat because y'all live together. So he was like, no, you can't, be so liberal going out in public. You need to wear a mask, even when you're hiking and stuff. And he was like, even though my husband will be immune in 2 weeks, like he can still mess around and bring that shit home and infect me and all this. It was just, I kind of left that place feeling like, well, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like we're not... we're still at danger here. So everyone else is just going to be out here like taking off their masks and living their best life. And
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. My doctor's like, yeah, we don't know. So let's just do it and see what happens. And it's fine. It's fine. I think that I have no problem wearing a mask when I am indoors in places for probably the rest of my life, because I haven't had a head cold in a year and a half. Or not a year and a half, but you know what I mean? A year and change at this point. And I was somebody that always was sick with something. Yes, teacher, but teacher who was immunocompromised, I took everything home. And so the whole idea of, if COVID gives me enough that I need a booster in 6 months, the vaccine gives me enough that I only need a booster in 6 months, cool. I'll do a booster in 6 months. Every 6 months for the rest of my life, I'll do it. If that means that I'm not going to maybe get and die from this thing, then cool. Why is that hard? And so I won't have to, I won't transmit it to anybody or take the chance of transmitting it to somebody, like, especially if I am still working with, populations that traditionally don't have the best healthcare, then I want to make sure I'm not giving them something that they're going to take home. And if I'm susceptible to it because my vaccine is only at like 50%, then I need to make sure that I'm wearing a mask and washing my hands and not going out in public where it's crowded. And while that leads to me still basically just staying home 99% of my life, even though I've been fully vaccinated, it did mean that, I could go over to friends and like hang out in the backyard without freaking out that I might do something or catch something because we're all outside and we're all vaccinated. And it's like, okay, this is what it's like again. Okay. So, yeah, I keep moving around and he just glares at me. And then I need like 3 mics that'll pick me up whatever direction I'm turning.
I'll have to get you a lav mic.
What's that one?
The one that clips on you.
Yeah, probably. That's probably a good idea. I'm queer. I can't sit in this chair for an hour and a half without moving around somewhere.
Figure it out.
Sorry. Yeah, so there was one other thing that I kind of wanted to bring up that happened a few times in this episode, and that was about how the parents and the other adults behaved at these kids' games, booing and taunting and airball and all of that. And like, I understand that that's all part of the game, but these are kids. And it really bothers me whenever I see anybody heckling kids. Like, if they're heckling each other, whatever. But you're a fucking adult. Act like one. I will never understand that. And like, Dean was a football coach for Evan for years and has stories. Like, what is wrong with people?
My nephew, he's a whole grown man now, but when he was young, he was a little sports prodigy. I think he got invited to Puerto Rico to play on like the baseball team for Little League and all that kind of shit.
Wow.
Like he was a really like amazing kid. I love you. If he's listening to this, I love your little butt. I know his mom does, but he had a very shitty attitude because he knew how good he was as a kid. Mm-hmm. And he would get into rundowns with other players and just do all of the showmanship on the field. And he would throw fits based on if he wasn't first or third in the batting order or whatever. He had a bad ego, but he was a baby. He's, chill dude now. But I used to sit in those stands sometimes because my family is very color diverse. So my little nephew, he looks like a little Puerto Rican boy. He's Irish and Puerto Rican and black. And these parents, maybe not thinking he was mine, would sit here and talk so much shit when my nephew was on base. So much shit like, oh, I can't stand this little kid. Oh my God, he's so arrogant. Oh, look at him. Oh, I hope they catch him. And like, this is our team. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I would go right to his mom and be like, yo, this person was saying this and this and that. And she's like, wait a minute, who? And it turned out to be like his like step aunt or something. I don't know.
What?
It was
people.
It was his family. I was like,
oh my God.
Is some crazy shit. But these parents would just be railing and ripping on all of these other kids, quietly. But I still was like, ain't this some bullshit? Like, yo, this was my kid. We wouldn't be fighting, but we're going to have some words.
Somebody's going to get their feelings hurt.
Exactly.
I will never understand that.
Some parents about to play catch with these hands.
You get that from Black TikTok?
Oh, no, that's Army days.
Okay,
so.
all right. I have never heard you say catch these hands in real life.
Army days.
Yeah, well, you were surrounded by Black people, so.
Well, yeah, well. There's that then.
There is that then.
We better move along because Lindsay's only got till 6.
Right. I was just going to say, is there anything else that we want to cover before we go into our lovely white people question? No? All right.
Welcome
to stupid white people questions.
You mean I'm gonna stay this color?
I will always crack up at that. It is so great.
All right, so I have two white people questions that I'm gonna
Okay.
I will give all the background.
Okay.
So don't worry, I've done this a couple times.
What?
So as you know, we're on TikTok, and so I reached out to Black TikTok for questions that folks have gotten from white people about their Black lives. And
What is the stupidest thing a white person has ever asked you?
basically. And so I got this one. I know you can't answer this one. I mean, I suppose you could go biologically backwards in time to talk about how things changed through evolution. But so this is a question that Michael Glover 28 on TikTok got, asking them, "Where is your tail?"
Do you think I'm a fucking monkey? Am I a dog?
I mean, the comments that I see on lots of Black folks on TikTok, yes, there are those who do think that.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate. And I would like to sort them out.
I would like somebody to ask me that to my face.
So I'd like somebody to do that as well, because I would
To my face or to your face?
To your face, so that I could then step in.
Okay, all right.
You know. So anyway, this is more along the lines of a question that you could probably answer. WY68NN, I'm guessing it's supposed to be win, with 68 in there in the middle. Do Black people pull up to other Black people with their rooftops down and still lock their doors? Which I kind of read as, white people, how they lock their doors when they see Black people come by. And I kind of have a funny story about that. I didn't accident. I just happened to be locking my doors at the same time a black guy was walking by, and he yelled at me. So I'm not going to get in your car. And it just happened to be coincidence that I was locking my door. And I felt guilty because it was totally unintentional. But so yeah, that's the question. Do Black people do that with other Black people?
So I've been very honest on this show about the internalized racism I grew up in, and I absolutely used to do that. I never saw Black people, and when I did, that was what my parents would do. They would lock their doors. So I got in that habit without realizing that it was what it was for, why they did it, why my dad did it. I don't remember if my mom did, but I very much remember my dad doing it. And, as I got older, I definitely questioned why I would do that. Why are you locking your doors when it's the Black guy going by, but not when it's the white guy? And, and like, I'm a murderer now, if you know what that means. I love weirdly and very morbidly, and curious, mostly in the psychology of like serial killers and like all of that. Like, if I had the brain for science, I probably would have gone into forensic psychology instead of child and adolescent developmental psychology. But like statistically, serial killers are white guys. That is the majority of serial killers are middle-aged white men. Sometimes you get a woman, sometimes you get a Black person, but statistically those are outliers. So, and I don't live anywhere where we had like gang violence growing up or anything like that. All of my ideas of that was from TV and movies and that sort of thing. But I also grew up hearing my dad saying, I have to go to the VA and that's in the South End. And like, oh, that's a bad thing to go to the South End. Go to Burien, go to White Center. Those are all the Black neighborhoods. Central District, oh, you better watch yourself there. So yeah, I definitely grew up with that mindset. Not, we didn't have roofless cars or whatever. What do you call them? Convertible. Because of course I couldn't think of the word. Convertible cars or anything. Just in shitty old Oldsmobile. It didn't matter. It was ingrained culturally, I guess you would say. Which really fucking sucks, but anyway.
I mean, I'm from the hood, y'all. You better lock your fucking door when you fucking are sitting in the driveway. Gang. Like, we don't I don't give a fuck who it is. Black, white, yellow, woman, man, whatever. Lock the fucking door. Like, because exactly what you were just explaining, like, I don't know who the fuck anyone is. And just for me, it's a safety thing. I'm a woman. I don't care who you are. Like, I am locking this door the minute I get in. You check the back seat. And then, before you sit your ass down.
Yeah, you check the back seat as you're walking up to your car.
And then you pull the door shut and lock. That is it. The rest of it, y'all do you. You want to send me a message because my black ass is in your neighborhood? That's great. You should have had your door locked all along. Bye. Next.
To be fair, most cars these days automatically lock once you've been driving for like a minute or two. So, I don't know. I know not all cars do, but the majority of cars that I've been in lately, at least, all seem to have that same thing where you're like 300 feet of driving and then everything locks. Like, yeah, okay. So
yeah, it usually happens. You start your car and then once you've let off the brake and hit the gas, that's when it.
Okay. Yeah, see, I'm not a driver, so I don't know all the specifics. So yeah, I'm interested in, like, I wonder if the place where this person was, where they were asked that, I wonder if they live somewhere that people are less likely to have cars that would do automatic locking like that. Like, more classic cars or more beater cars or whatever.
If you're just sitting in your car, then it's not going to automatically lock. So,
right.
Yeah,
but in like the old, like I remember being in the olds, you would get in, put the seatbelt on, pop the lock. Like that was the habit that.
Like if you were just sitting in the car waiting, let's say you're waiting for somebody, like you went to, you just went somewhere and you were sitting in the car waiting for somebody to come out.
I got you. We go to this store and I don't want to go into the store and you leave the car and you go in without me. I lock the door.
Yeah.
I lock the door.
Smart.
Yeah.
And
most of the times, because the key is in the ignition and I'm probably laying back and people can't see I'm in there and they only see that there's a key in the ignition. Of course, like there's a chance that someone's going to try and get in, and they have. But like, I never really thought of it as, I never thought of it in the same way that I now understand that my parents did, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
I grew up in Texas, so of course, if it was a black person walking by, yeah, of course. That was, grew up, raised, taught racism. So that was, it's just, racism, of course, is taught. So,
On the other end of it, though, I've had friends make fun of me. Most of my friends were white growing up because, like I told y'all, I went to that private school.
Mm-hmm.
But when we go out to their houses in the suburbs, I'd be like, oh, please lock the door. Like if I'm waiting for them to get something out the house, because I have always been physically like I get chills and stuff. I'm uncomfortable in the suburbs. And I imagine that may be what some affluent people, I won't even put race on it, affluent people probably feel in the hood. In the hood, I'm pretty comfortable. Yes, I still lock my doors because I don't trust none of y'all. I'm also a true crime person. So
yep.
When I don't know the people around me, y'all all know each other to an extent. Like, right, neighbors watch neighbors. It's just the way it is. I do not want to be out here alone in the sticks, waiting in somebody's car. And Jim Bob just sees me here and comes, snatches me up and takes me to the field. It could fucking happen. And I'm not here for it. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what's going on. Lock this fucking door and please hurry up getting whatever you have to get out of your car. It's a thing of being unfamiliar. Although if you've ever, I can't think of the name of the podcast with Jim Clementi where they do all the psychoanalyzing of like criminals and stuff. But he talks there about the semblance of security and how you are never any safer in the ghetto than you are in the suburbs, than you are anywhere else.
Yeah, the illusion of security.
Yeah.
And so y'all lock your doors. The end.
I think what's his name that is Adam Conover. What was that? Adam Ruins Everything.
Yeah.
That was another one. He's another one who's covered that.
I think I've read books by this guy now that I'm looking him up.
Yeah, that's
like, okay.
I know when when I lived out on ranch in Texas, I mean, we lived out in the middle of nowhere. There was nobody. I mean, if you were coming up there, you have walked, or we would have seen you driving up. So, I mean, we left doors unlocked. We left keys in cars. And
see, the big difference between how you grew up and how I grew up is my neighborhood was famous because Ted Bundy stopped a shoplifter at the mall 3 blocks away.
Oh, Lord.
He was in the paper.
Good guy, Ted.
Good guy, Ted. Good guy, Ted. I used to work at this one daycare center that in the alley behind the daycare was somewhere where he got one of his victims. The bar that I went to after work was a bar that he would pick up victims. Seattle is much more dangerous than probably a lot of quote unquote hoods because we have so many serial killers here.
Yeah. You got to be more scared of white people.
I am. I wasn't growing up, but I sure as fuck am now.
Exactly.
Man. Man. Wait, can you ask that first question again? I just want to hear that ridiculousness again, please.
Demond, where's your tail?
Yes. You have it in your phone as your mom.
There you go.
I am not a very big person, so I have to come up with that kind of stuff because I'm not fighting anybody. Not anymore.
Your mom took it and she was playing with it last night. So your mom likes his tail. Hey now.
Heyo.
Heyo.
Was it? It was Pretty Woman, right? That the like really terrible misogynistic dude actually had a vestibular tail. Vestibular?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Vestigial.
Vestigial tail. What's the dude who was on Seinfeld? What was his name? Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
So Jason Alexander in Pretty Woman had a extra vertebrae or two.
Yeah.
That at the end it was a joke where he wagged his fucking tail. It was
Was that?
That's what.
Yeah, I remember. I remember stupid fucking details like that. I
vaguely remember. I just didn't remember it was from that.
Well, the only reason why I remember it was from that. Maybe I'm pretty sure it was, unless maybe I'm mixing up 2 different movies. Now you got me doubting myself.
Just look up Jason Alexander vestigial tail.
Oh God.
It's what I do.
Yeah. Yep. It is. It is
random.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't get you? And I think that's a very ADHD
I was wrong,
thing.
and it absolutely is because. Anyway, it was Shallow Hal, actually.
Shallow Hal. Okay.
It's funny that those are the 2 movies that I mixed up with each other. Like Gwyneth Paltrow and Julia Roberts.
I had
fucking
serious
Gwyneth
issues with that
Paltrow
movie.
in a fat suit. Fuck her.
I was so pissed. I hated that movie. It was like all the pretty big women you could have got, and you put a fat suit on. It was hot.
Well, they can't make a fat girl skinnier. They can only make a skinny girl fatter.
That's right.
I know, right? Also,
come on now.
Fuck you.
Good boy.
Why don't you actually showcase that this fat woman is pretty? Because she fucking is.
Yep.
But whatever. Cries and fat woman.
And I've been loving on mine. It'll be 10 years on Friday.
Oh yeah.
Yay.
Yay. What are you doing for your anniversary?
Still not sure. I think we're either going to go to Nashville and stay in a hotel and hang out, or we're going to do an elaborate staycation. We're not 100% sure yet. So Uncle Sam's paying for it. So
hell yeah.
Go to Nashville.
How do I get that deal?
I still want to. I mean, that's one place I haven't been to Sun Studios. I want to go there.
I would love to go to Sun Studios.
What's it?
Sun Studios,
the place where Johnny Cash,
Elvis, and
yeah,
like the first rock and roll recording studio. Sam Phillips. He was like the first producer who would record black artists for major production. So yeah, Sun Studios was like the big place in Nashville. So
gotcha.
So yeah, that's Johnny Cash, Elvis, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, Jackie Brinson.
All of the white guys mistaken for black guys until Jackie, or the other way around.
Yeah. Because that was the thing. You could look up stuff about Sam Phillips, but that was kind of
he had a great ear and picked out some really amazing artists and gave them their start.
Very true. But yeah, I mean, Jackie Brinson, Ike Turner was playing there. So yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, way back in the day, the early mid 50s. So yeah, Sun Studios. That's
back when black people didn't do anything because only white people were around.
Yeah.
Back when America was great. Remember when it was great?
Yeah.
That's why we got to make it again. I don't know. So I lost.
When was it? When was it great?
When was it great?
When was it great?
It is. I mean,
I'm pretty confused about that myself.
I think it was probably great back in probably, I don't know, the 1400s.
Yeah, when the indigenous folks didn't have anybody else to worry about.
Well, I mean, actually, let's go a little earlier than that because they started actually getting wiped out by disease before Columbus arrived. Anyway.
Yeah.
Because explorers to other parts of places and then people who would barter with them and fucking white people all just ruin everything. That's what it is.
The Vikings.
I say this to my husband all the time.
I will say the Vikings came over here, didn't seem to do any of that bullshit.
No.
So now granted, the Vikings did come over to Great Britain and kidnapped
just a little,
a few Christians, but
most of the stuff that I've seen about when the Vikings set foot on the northern America. Yeah, the Norse. The like in the Minnesota area where they can see like actual runes carved into stones that have been there for thousands of years, it feels like. And
wow.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
All of the stuff that I've seen, it seems like they tried to integrate into society. Like,
well, I mean,
there was a dig space somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but there was a dig space somewhere in the northeast of the U.S. where they actually found a buried Viking ship.
Yeah.
Like inland.
Yeah. That was here before.
Exactly. Well before.
I think it was like Eric the Red.
Something like that,
way back then. So yeah.
Fascinating shit. Like
Columbus
this country
even was
had
lied about.
a history, right? We just don't get to know that history. And, when we try to teach that history, they say that we're being racist against white people. And then they pass laws that say teachers can't tell you about racism.
Yeah.
Texas.
Well, and not just Texas.
I know. It's like fucking 19 states are trying to do it.
Yeah. Fuck them.
I guess there is some new stuff that I get that gets into my brain.
I just don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just not a smart man. I just don't get it. I really don't.
The problem is you are a smart man.
Yeah.
And that's like when you're smart and you actually are logical, you can't understand what the other side is saying.
It was like I can't remember which episode it was. I think it may have been the R. Kelly episode at the end where Huey says, "Well, I can't blame this one on the white man." Yeah, I can. Who the hell am I talking about?
Right.
So, if who's going around, colonizing, for resources all over. I mean,
who's
more
still
than anyone.
fucking colonizing today?
Yeah. So
I have a friend whose parents are on a mission right now. I think they're in like Japan or something. I don't even know. But like, fucking people still do that. Why are you forcing your religion on other people? Stop it. Stop. Okay, I'm done now. All right. Is there anything else anybody's got to talk about today? Any final thoughts? No.
Damon?
You don't have anything?
Damon,
tell us about your other stuff.
Tell everybody where we can find you.
I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Damon Does, all one word. You can find Damon Does the 6 Questions on any podcast app where everybody on this show has been on it.
Yeah.
Including Mary Jane, who I am substituting for. Is there anything else that I forgot? Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a huge fan of the show. So I'm like, wow, I'll hear myself this week.
You were the first one we thought of when we were like, oh, it doesn't look like MJ's going to make it again.
And then
stuff's not coming till tomorrow.
And then you and I are going to be talking again tomorrow.
Right.
So
yeah.
And then I got to get Lynxi lined up, and then MJ lined up because we interviewed Lynxi, and then I fucking lost the interview.
Oh, right.
So I lost 2 different interviews.
Podscare.
Yeah. On Podscare.
And Podscare.
So, and Lynxi, I've already talked to Danielle. I'm going to try to get her on. So, got to get all my peeps.
You are going to have some fun.
I hope so.
You are going to have some fun for sure.
All right. I guess reminder that we are on Patreon, where if you are not a Patreon patron, there's some more to this episode that you have not heard that happened before we actually started. So if you want to, and like I don't even know how much. There's a whole bunch of different tiers in there for different things.
Yeah, there are.
Come hang out with us.
Patreon.com/boondocks-pod.
You can find us on Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and
Discord. We have a Discord.
Yes, we have a Discord, which is so fun.
Our Discord, and our Discord is Boondocks. It is Podscare. It is How Are You Now?
Yes.
And as we add new podcasts,
which we all know is going to happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, everybody out there, go get your vaccine. Wear your mask, even if you are vaccinated, please. And we'll see you soon. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I need you to get the hell up out of here.
Thanks for joining us again as we make our way through the trials and tribulations of the Freeman family. We hope to see you back again next time for Invasion of the
Katrinas.
That is not Katrina's, what you wrote right there.
I copied and pasted.
Katrina's Invasion of the
Katrinians.
Want to know where to find us on the social medias or where to subscribe to the podcast? Just head right over to www.theboondockspod.com/links.
Have a stupid white people question you want to leave us? Email us at host@theboondockspod.com or leave us a voicemail at 760-933-8636. That's 760-we-3-undo.
Shout out to the artists who've created our intro and outro tunes. Our intro is #MakeAChange by KIRK. You can find them on Spotify, iTunes, and Tidal. Our outro is Good Times by Audio Binger. You can find them on freemusicarchive.org and YouTube.